After the homily this morning, we will formally install your new pastor. This is a ceremony that many of you may never have seen before. It's a little bit different, but it has three parts to it. There's the renewal of priestly vows. The second part is a visitation of the various stations in the church where Father will exercise his priestly ministry. And the third part is the profession of faith. But we'll get into that a little bit more. When I was thinking about how do you explain by an image what an installation of a pastor is all about, I thought about a television show. It's a very secular show, but probably many of you have seen it. The show is Dancing with the Stars. This particular show is a contest, usually involving a professional dancer and a celebrity or a star who has made their fame in some other area. Perhaps sports, athletics, business, theater, but they're not really a dancer. But one of the things that they do is they pair up a professional with the celebrity, and then they give them a dance to learn. And then they have to perform the dance in front of the spectators and the television commercials, and there's three judges watching the action. And of course, the idea is to convince the judges that you did such a good job that every judge is going to give you a 10. Now, sometimes before the show, they practice all week. They have a week in which they try and learn the new dance that they're told that they must dance on the night of the show. So supposing they have to learn to dance the tango. Now nobody is born a good tango dancer. You have to learn how to dance the tango. You have to learn to move with your partner so that the two of you have great harmony and grace in your action. Everything is perfect, and the music is given visible flesh. It's like you hear the music, you see the dancers, and you say, wow, this is beautiful. Now, something like that is what happens when you get a new pastor. Your pastor and you, the parishioners, have to learn to dance together. You have to learn to dance the tango. And none of you are good at it. You have to start fresh, and you have to practice. Now on television, sometimes they will show you what the practice is like. It's not perfect. Things go wrong. People get frustrated. Sometimes they get angry. Sometimes they have their toes stepped on, and that hurts. And sometimes when you and your pastor are learning how to dance the tango, to live as a Christian community with the gospel as your music, sometimes it can be frustrating. Sometimes you can get angry. It's hard work. And sometimes your toes will be stepped on. You don't like that. Nobody does. But the object is to learn how to be a Catholic Christian community together so that everybody will look at you and say, 10, 10, 10. They got it right. That's perfection. And that will mean that all of your neighbors and all the people in the city of Calgary will look at you and say, that is a good Catholic community of faith. So this just presents to you the challenge when you get a new pastor. You've got to learn to dance together. Tough work. Okay. Now you may have thought that the homily. Wrong. That was just the commercial. Now I'm going to say a few words about our liturgy for today. When we sit back and we say, well, what do we want? What do most people hope for? I think we all want to be loved and to love. We want to live forever. We want to experience joy beyond our wildest imaginings, and we don't want it to end. And we have a situation frequently presented in our gospel reading when things don't go well. We have, for example, instances such as Bartimaeus, that poor beggar in the gospel, and he's sitting beside the side of the road and he's blind. And he hears that Jesus is going by. And he just wants more. And so he yells out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. Today we have a leper in the gospel. And the story of a leper is they have this disease that puts them on the outside of the community. They're lonely. They're by themselves. They're marginalized. They're depressed. Their situation is not good. And sometimes they can try everything they want to get reconnected, but nothing seems to work, and they cry out, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. Have mercy on us. This has been a year in which we have been making that our own prayer over and over again. We want Jesus to have mercy on us. We want Jesus to save us, to extend his love and his mercy in the midst of our hardships. This is also important for us today when we look at the Canadian society we're living in. We recently have had a new law enacted in Canada permitting physician-assisted suicide. And this past week I had an opportunity to listen to Cardinal Ike, who is the Archbishop of Utrecht in the Netherlands. And he said something that I thought was really significant. He said, based on his experience in Holland, he's a doctor. He also has a degree in moral theology. And he's a cardinal. And he said to us, when you are asked a question about physician-assisted suicide, look behind the question. Look behind the question. Because the question does not necessarily mean that the person directly wishes to die or to have their life terminated. But the real question being asked in most cases is, how can I continue to live with dignity in this situation? It's very close to what Bartimaeus said, the sinner, the blind man, and very close to what the leper said. Jesus, Master, have mercy on me. How can I continue to live in this way? And Cardinal Ike said that the request is frequently because of fear of unbearable pain or by an aversion to humiliation. Personal humiliation. And pain really seems to be the focus, but if you look behind it, it's more the fear of pain and how do I preserve my self-respect and my dignity. And when you look at it this way, he said the request is really one for help, for relief. It's the same as the leper. Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. So ultimately, one of the things that we have to begin to recognize is physician-assisted suicide is not a solution to suffering, but it's the elimination of a suffering human being. And we have to, as people of faith, like the leper in the gospel, come back to Jesus, who is the way, the truth, and the life. And we have to give ourselves over totally to Jesus in his passion, death, and resurrection. And not attempt to control life of our own, but to recognize that we need rescue. We need help. We need the power of God in our lives. The second thing we might take away from our liturgy today is the simple fact that we're celebrating Eucharist once again. And Eucharist literally means, when you translate it into English, I don't know what it is in Korean, but in English it means thanksgiving. And here we are, we're on a Thanksgiving weekend. How appropriate it is that this Catholic community of St. Anne's is coming to celebrate the Eucharist on Thanksgiving weekend to give thanks to God. We have been so blessed by God that we have to get together as a community of faith to give thanks. One of the hymns that we sing very frequently in many of the English liturgies is "Now Thank We All Our God." Some of you may have heard that. And the words are, "Now thank we all our God with hearts and hands and voices, who wondrous things hath done, in whom the world rejoices. So keep us in his grace, guide us when perplexed, and free us from all ills in this world and the next." Now thank we all our God. As we think about this weekend and enjoy, especially tomorrow, the day off from work, Thanksgiving Day, we gather with family and with friends. We thank God for the harvest. We thank God for all of his blessings. And most of us are blessed in more ways than we usually think. Sometimes our lives are so filled up with demands. I have to do this, I have to do that. And we have that rigid schedule that we start, really, with more demands than we can handle on any one day. And so you go to bed totally at night exhausted. But it makes quite a difference if you begin the day by saying, "Thank you, God, for the gift of life. Thank you for freedom. Thank you for my friends. Thank you for my job." It's like all of a sudden you have put all of the demands of your day within kind of a protective shell. An image of this occurred not too long ago. I got a new statue. But when the statue came by parcel post, I opened the cardboard box, and the first thing I had to deal with was styrofoam. The statue was coated with styrofoam. And of course that meant that the statue wasn't going to break, because it was protected by the styrofoam. And I thought to myself, that's like the blessings of God. They're like styrofoam, protecting what is precious, the demands of our day. They're kind of like protection, so that we don't break, despite all of the demands that are made upon our time. When we put ourselves in the protection of God, we can handle almost anything. Almost anything. There's a little piece of poetry that I want to share with you. It says simply, "Be thankful you don't already have everything you desire. If you did, what would there to be looked forward to? Be thankful when you don't know something, for it gives you the opportunity to learn. Be thankful for difficult times. During those times you grow. Be thankful for your limitations, because it gives you opportunity for improvement. Be thankful for each new challenge, because it will build your strength and character.